Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Nice to see you all. Thank you for being here. My name is Hillary Alcott, and I'm the curator of the Arts of the Americas here at the Fine Arts Museums of San Francisco. And I've had the privilege and honor of working with Rose on the exhibition that you see upstairs in Willsey Court, Rose B. Simpson, LEXICON. And you can see our new arrival bosque in the photo behind me. In the exhibition, Rose explores aesthetics and relationship to place through the perhaps unexpected combination of Pueblo art and custom classic cars. And today, Rose will be speaking with us about a slightly different topic, but one that connects to and informs her work, art and ecology. And I will say Rose is going to speak first, and then we're going to have a brief break. There'll be Q&A, and then we'll have a brief break, and then we're having another amazing artist speak with us, Melissa Cody, at about 3:45. So if you'd like to stay in between, please do just keep your seats, but we're going to have a brief AV changeover in that time. So now I have the pleasure of introducing Rose. Rose B. Simpson is a mixed media artist from Santa Clara Pueblo, New Mexico. She works primarily in clay along with metal and found objects and conceives of her artworks as healing tools to counter the effects of postmodernism and post-colonialism. Rose has an MFA in ceramics from the Rhode Island School of Design and an MFA in creative nonfiction from the Institute of American Indian Arts. She's also studied automotive sciences at the Northern New Mexico College. Her artworks are in museums and private collections across the country and have been exhibited around the world. We're really honored and excited to have Rose with us here today, so please help me please help me welcome her to the stage. Thank you, Rose.
Wow, I can't see you at all. That's probably a good thing. But I know there's lots of love, so that's good, right? What a ride! Like that, right? I'm here for it, for real. Wow. I am incredibly grateful to be here. I am incredibly grateful for all the love that I feel from everyone and the support that I've had at home and here. And I have some incredible people in my life who have traveled from New Mexico to be here today to celebrate this opening. And I'm grateful for that, for my crew and my old school buds, and for people that have flown across the country to be here for this. For the DeYoung, and where's Hillary? There she is. I just want to give a crazy shout out to Hillary, who has gone above and beyond the call and showed up in all the ways, energetically and spiritually and physically, and she has really impressed me. Thank you, Hillary. That's what's up. I love when that happens. So, fun fact, I'm going to be talking about something that I'm putting together a new presentation. This is a new subject, so you are my guinea pigs for this, and thank you for your patience as I work through this new idea. I'm really excited about bridging inspiration, relationality, and context, because that is the truth. And I feel like I'm nervous because this is a new subject, and I'm also telling myself I know this in my core and I'll be okay. So thank you. And I would just take a moment and recognize all the energies that are flowing around us in this day, and all the intention and investment into this project, into this community of arts, and all the people that are with us in spirit, from ancestors to friends and supporters, to all those who have given their their lives in plants and animals and fossil fuels and the earth herself who is supporting us as guests, as her children in these bodies in this time with this breath. May we never forget that. Yeah. Some things are to be shared and some things aren't. And so this is a place to be very careful. So I'm going to be careful, and I'm going to be considerate, and I'm going to do my best. Yeah, that's me when I was a little kid. What you're not seeing is that my brother was on his hands and knees with like a rope, and he was pulling me. And there were stickers, so he got in his hands and knees. He wasn't going very fast. But I was always on a mission to go somewhere. This is one of my favorite pots ever. I'm a big fan of pots, but you'll see this. What I want to talk about is how I didn't know this when I was little, but I realized later that I was raised with a unique understanding of our context in the world. And that is actually a pattern understanding. It is a comprehension of the patterns of creation that are not just what we see, but also what we feel. It's a spiritual thing. It is a physical thing. It is our context in relationality with all that is flowing around us. So when I look at this pot, I don't just see geometric patterns. I see a world. I see mountains. I see the movement of water and wind. I see the movement of people. I see place. I see centers. I see mountain ranges. I see the sky and the below. And I realized later that not everybody sees this. And that is unique, and I have to give thanks for this. On the left is a photograph of Aztec Ruins National Monument. That's a wall of an ancestral site. And the wall inside was blue stones were used as a stripe in the wall. This would have been plastered over, or that's what they said. So the intention was embedded in the wall. And the theory is that the people had moved from a place that got flooded. So they included this stripe of blue in the wall to commemorate that story. And I think often about the intention that's embedded into things that we don't see. Also in the wall is this tree, and the tree has rings of life, of what came of the world to nourish it into being. So for this drawing that I did for Chaco Canyon, there was a archaeological and anthropological, but also the study of the stars event that they had, and I drew this for them, which includes the rooms that are descending into the back. It includes the sun dagger that marks the time of year and the important moments of the sun in relationship to the people and their crops, etc., ceremonial times. It has the rings of the tree, the layers of the stones, the what looks like checkerboards is actually fields. It is the growing, it is the corn kernels, it is that which is life. And then you see the movement of the stars and the comets, etc., that influence the way that we see, and that the understanding that all things that are spinning around us affect us and who we are and how we move through it. So the longer we can pay attention to it and adjust ourselves in relationship to it, that we are living more harmoniously with what is being offered to us. I'm from on my matrilineal side, I'm from Santa Clara Pueblo. And this is important. I am going to focus on this relationship because this relationship is what, and this connection, not being from but of, has influenced this way of seeing the world. And I have to be very careful not to say anything that is pan-indigenous, because I'm not every Native person and I can't speak for that, but I can speak for my unique, very unique relationship to that identity and that genetic and emotional and spiritual and physical connection to place and people. If you hold up your right hand, there's a circle in a fist. It's the same direction that that plant is spinning. On the picture on the right is Truchas Peaks, which are in the Sangre de Cristo mountain range. Santa Clara Pueblo is nestled alongside the Rio Grande River between two mountain ranges. One on the east of us is the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, which is the lower end of the Rocky Mountains, and to the west is the Jemez Mountains, which consists of a caldera that was one of the biggest mountains in the world at one point before it went off. This idea of being held by mountains is huge. That we are not balancing on the outside of a sphere, that we are being held in the bottom of a hug of earth. We rebuild that hug in all parts of our life. This is building an adobe home. Adobe is mud bricks. Ancestrally, we built with stone. And then dried bricks of mud. I come from, our people are from the high desert, where it is dry enough that we can build our homes from dried bricks. I grew up building. My grandma, Rena, and my mom, Indigalo, were both builders. And so I grew up watching these women build our homes. I never thought that was a man's job. I thought women build our homes just like those mountains hold us in, our villages. This is an image of Taos Pueblo, which I love because from above it looks like the pot. The whole village is in a circle and it holds in just like the mountains behind. My mother is a sculptor, and so as much as she built homes with mud, she also built people out of clay. As all the women in my family, that goes back for 70 generations, she was given clay, and she, knowing how to make pottery, the traditional style, she chose to communicate with making figures. And so as a little kid, my mom made these figures and I watched her, and just like walking, I learned how to do it just by watching. And these figures I saw them as the same as these homes, the pots, the mountains, the earth that holds the seed when we plant it, that feeds us. That relationship is so much bigger than an objectification of resource or material. And it has become what my life has led me to. And same as building these walls in layers to create a home, I build my pieces in these strings that go up the same way. The house holds community, it holds love, it holds nourishment and nurturing of the next generations, of our elders, of the stories. The vessel of the human body and that which is made in clay does the same. I walked over to my mom's house one day and she was making these pots. And they were laying on the ground, she was sanding them, and I guess she just walked away and that's where they were. And I took this picture because they were breathing. They had these mouths and they were talking. They were there. They were someone. Each and every one was someone. And I went back to my studio and I looked at my piece and it was breathing too. And I realized, like, when you see someone in everything, you become constantly building relationship with all things around you. And that shows in that you begin to relate to the world around you. This is the mountains. This is up by Los Alamos, in the crags alongside the Rio Grande River, and that is Black Mesa underneath the clouds there. This is where our ancestors have lived for thousands and thousands of years. And how does that place become who we are? And how we hold ourselves and carry ourselves in relationship to that which fed us, created us, made us. And when we're in relationship, we act different. When we are being watched, we act different. When we are held accountable to something bigger than ourselves, we might consider our actions just a little longer than otherwise. I made these works, which have traveled all over, with holes all the way through, because I feel like we forget that we are guests, and that when we're guests, we have to act right. And they're watching us. And when you're being watched by that which is bigger than us, that's maybe not just anthropomorphic, as in human-based. It might be that tree, that sky, that bird, that bug, that rock, that chair, that car. And if we remember and feel what it feels like to be watched, we might slow down and think about what we're doing a little longer before we make a decision. And sometimes we might think about, maybe we don't know, maybe we can go deeper, maybe we can go further, maybe we can ask one more question. Maybe we can put aside our knowing we are right and say, maybe there's some mystery that's trying to talk to me if I just listen. Because I think when we already know, we can't learn. When we already know, it's really hard to be respectful, because it's hard to be respectful when you're not in relationship. When we're not in relationship, we can use each other. When we're not in relationship, we abuse each other. And when I say each other, I'm not just talking about people. I made this piece about sitting there and facing that which is watching us. So in this room, there's a table and a cup, because we are nourishing ourselves. And there's probably some tea in that cup, and there's a chair, and there's a light. And on the wall are 3 big faces. When you sit there by yourself and you listen, there's someone talking, there's someone watching. How do you build relationship with that? Is that your shadows? Is that you are one tiny little facet of this brilliant, 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 brilliant magical stone that is the whole world that we're in. And that is a responsibility. That is a beautiful thing. And if we listen long enough, it will show us where to go, how to be, what to say. And I'm only saying this because I don't know, and I'm looking too. And the more I can set this up, this very situation for myself to listen, the more then I can enter the mystery of myself and all that is, and learn how to be more respectful. This is that. I look at these patterns. I come from a really strict community, and I'm grateful for that. And I'm not here to tell you what these mean, because it's nobody else's business. But I can tell you how it feels. And maybe you can find your way to that. This is what that means. It means we are in relationship. And if you let go of, oh, this is supposed to mean that, and I objectify that, oh, that's a mountain, that's a feather, that's this or that. Actually, no, it's a feeling of relationality. And as long as we stop objectifying those things, we can listen and it will tell us what it is. If you listen past what you think you know, walk into that mystery, it will tell you. And in that place, and maybe we can go into our vulnerability. And in that vulnerability, we can learn something about ourselves and our relationship to place. I made this piece based on the place of Madison Square Park in New York City. I don't like cities very much. I feel scared in cities. I don't feel scared in the mountains. I feel scared in cities. And I feel scared because I feel like I have to put on a mask. I have to put on something that's not me. I have to pose and protect my vulnerability. And so I made this where there is beings that are watching out for the central figure who is then able to melt down into the earth. And it's called seed. And when she plants herself back into connection with all things, then she can grow and she can heal. And she can be in a state of connection, and from that state of connection, she can listen to what's trying to talk to her. If we be something other than what we are, and I don't think we can hear what's trying to get to us. It was like stay in a place of ideas. I'm only telling you this because this is my problem. And what's important, I think the most important part of this piece is that little blue face. And the little blue face is the children. And that they're watching. I felt like a kid until I became a mom. And then all of a sudden I had to grow up. I'm still struggling with that, making a lot of mistakes. But all of a sudden I care. I care about the future because I love someone so much that I want her to have a future. And so the responsibility to go there, to grow there, to plant myself, to remember, is way, 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 way stronger. I'm talking about energy. I'm not going to tell you what this means. I'm going to ask you to feel it. And that this pot, if it didn't have those patterns on it, it would still be powerful, but those patterns give something to it that becomes vibrant, that becomes powerful, that becomes influential and important. This is me as a mom. And energy this is my mom truck. It's a Dodge Ram Power Wagon 2500. This is where I put my baby, and I drive around, and dudes don't talk to me because my truck's bigger than theirs. So, energy, as a post-colonial person in this world that I live in New Mexico that was colonized by Spanish, and so that is a huge part of my identity and place because of my context of what I grew up in. I come from Española, New Mexico, the writer capital of the world. I saw aesthetic applied, relationality. This is relational aesthetics right here. This is a reason to live. In a place where drugs are riddling everything and people don't want to live, there's Cruise Line. Where you dress up, you shine up your car, and you go from Sonic to Sonic, and you see your buddies, and it is an incredibly healing moment. Where you are living in the present. You notice the sun. You listen to that music. You lean back in your chair and you soak in the art, the beauty of that moment. That's healing. And I saw that. That's what I grew up in. And that's what I saw. When I grew up, I'm going to have a lowrider. When I grew up, I'm going to have a custom car. I bought my first car when I was 12. I love cars. This is a pot I made in graduate school, Fondo, my reference. So like a 4-foot tall pot, and it has a Chevy, a 57 Chevy on the side, because the honoring of that energy, just like those patterns on those pots, it is a type of energy that is honored. The whole world spinning, the relationship to that. You see those fields, you see the fish and their scales. It is feeding us. It is spinning around us, giving us life. We give it life. We honor its life. It feeds us. It spins, it spins, it spins like that right-hand circle. Waffle gardens. Those are the gardens. Isn't that checkerboards? Yeah, it is checkerboards. It is fast. I like to drive fast, not gonna lie. It also feeds me. What are the things? What are the energies that feed me? And how, when I feed myself and my soul, can I take that energy that I fill myself up with and spin it around and give it to the mystery and then listen to it and ask it how I can give, how I can be of service. It's feeding. It's feeding. It's feeding. And not only is it feeding, but it's beautiful. And maybe aesthetics is that which feeds us. It feeds our soul. It feeds our that river which flows down our spine of love. What is it that adds to that tributary? This one has a star on it because it has the fields. This is an American flag. This is fields. This is the kernels of the corn. This is the scales of that fish. This is the world. And above it is the guidance as we enter into the layers of creation, even those we don't see. It's just like our body. That bird is a vessel. It's nourishing, be it food, be it water, be it medicine, be it energy. We are all holding that. Maria, it's an 1885 Chevy El Camino. I found her on the side of the road for sale in Ambe. She had been sideswiped, and I wanted a Chevy drivetrain. Those of you who know why I wanted a Chevy drivetrain. And I figured an El Camino has a GMA body, which is good for hydraulics. And if I got this car, I could take out the Chevy drivetrain, put it in my Buick, and then flip the body for a lowrider. So I started working on it. And my mom said, let's take that ugly thing to the field and fill it up with our harvest. Because the kids could reach over the bed. So we feel this was the moment. This was the day. And I saw her as the vessel she was. So I started working on this car. I put my love into this car. And I think about sanding of pots. And when you sand something, when you put your love into it, and that the energy that you hold as you work onto it, on it becomes what the medicine that it carries. And that I sanded this car, and I sanded this car all the way down to the middle, and I pulled the middle, and I welded the middle, and I did all that. And I was putting my love into this car, putting my love into this car, putting my love into this car. So on the left here is a pot by Maria Martinez from San Ildefonso Pueblo. And she and her partner sort of developed the style where she polished the pots very, very shiny and then painted them again with the black slip, which wasn't black, that's actually red. And then is put into the firing in a carbon reduction and smothered with kakasa, with shit. That's what makes it black. And then the only pattern you see is a black on black, right? And that black on black is subtle. It's powerful. It's incredibly, incredibly serious. And yet beautiful. The pot on the right is Margaret Tafoya, who is well known in Santa Clara Pueblo for our pots. So Santa Clara Pueblo has this different style where we do deep incision. I sometimes look at Santa Clara pots and I think, man, it's just like who we are. Just a little bit blunt, a little bit hard, a little bit like straight to the point. And me, and I'm proud of it. It's beautiful. What does power look like? And that's it's a feminine power, I think. It's a really beautiful, nurturing, holy power. This is tape. So the green is tape. So I threw a hot rod black, which is a satin, and my teacher said, what are you doing? You're not supposed to do that. And I taped it off, the green, with that green tape. And he's like, if you throw that glass clear on there and it messes up, you're going to have to sand that whole thing back down again. It's going to take you forever. And I was like, okay. And I did. And I screamed when I took that tape off. I was like, whoa. He's all, yeah. It's just bad. My buddy is a photographer, Kate Russell. She takes these incredibly beautiful photographs of my cars, and she has documented my life for the past like 15 years, which is incredible. And she was like, what? This is so hard to take a photograph of. And she's really done a beautiful job. This is Maria at Good Friday Cruise Line in Española with the moon. She likes to go really fast. And so Good Friday Cruise Line is not fun for her because she's not going 110. So she likes to park at the Center Market parking lot and just smoke coolant fumes. One day when I was cruising Good Friday with my daughter, Cedar Rain, who's here tonight, or this afternoon, hey. She was like, Mom, how come we don't have a bouncy car? And I was like, good point, kid, good point. So Maria is of place. Maria is painted of Española. She's a story of the difficulties about colonization and living in cultural dynamics and power and presence and beauty and connection and rehabilitation and dedication. And it's really been a beautiful journey and relationship. So once upon a time, Pueblo people of the northern Rio Grande, the Tewa Pueblos, did do polychrome pots. Polychrome is when there's multiple colors used on the surface of the clay. And you can see here sort of the evolution towards the black on black or black pottery that sort of happened. And so I started digging into our past, and a lot of Tewa pots were more floral, and I realized that was sort of less of the hard geometrics that a lot of polychrome pots have that you'll see now in incredible pots by like Acoma, etc. We had really floral design sort of floating on the white background. And I realized that those are a lot were sort of influenced by our relationship with the Spanish, I think, because we're really in close proximity to Spanish villages. And so that, influence has been a long time. So I found this 1964 Buick Riviera in Detroit. First, I found a 1964 Buick Riviera. My friend had one there in Española. He has a shop where he does exhaust. And that one did have an engine. The body was perfect. I said, I don't really want to rebuild this engine, but I can do the body work. So I traded, me and my buddy and my 2-year-old put the car on a trailer, drove to Detroit, and traded in for this one, which the body was garbage, but this engine was going good. And 6 years of doing different things to it, including putting hydraulics, which is you're not supposed to. This is not a GMA body. But I don't follow rules, really, do I? I don't know. But talk about love. And I'm not the only one who put lots of love into this car. But it had to be stripped all the way down. Probably like 5-6 months of welding. Little tiny things like, that's the window sill. And it was totally like dentistry to make all the patches and rebuild that. So this car has so much time and energy and love into it. And all the layers. Riviera is a space along the river, right? It's like where people like to hang out for thousands and thousands of years because of the abundance of those places. In northern New Mexico, in the high desert, it's very dry until you get to alongside the Rio Grande, and then it's the abundant place. So in New Mexico, we call that area the bosque. The bosque is where all the animals go to drink and where ancestrally we'd farm, where a lot of the village were located because of the abundance that came there. This is in a bosque next to Santa Clara Pueblo. So this car was painted to honor that space. So I had to confront a little bit of my own femininity. So I don't really put flowers on things. And learning that a lot, like Tewa polychrome had a lot of that like floral elements. I had to really embrace that within myself and go there and think about what that means to hold that energy, that abundance, that vessel of place. There's a eagle on the roof. or rain clouds and flowers and water. This is what a group of Santa Clara women looks like together. Watch out now. What happens when we hold that? When we adorn ourselves with that? When those values are on the outside of us, when we become that pot and we are that vessel which serves, which is in service, and we understand ourselves and stand in that and hold that in our bodies. For me, it's a lot easier to make something and put it over there and then stand behind it and hide and see what happens than to like put it on my physical being and hold that space. It's a lot easier being a hypocrite, isn't it? So I've been figuring out how to hold space for that. And I have an incredibly wonderful group of people in my life that are willing to play. I call these transformants where we actually embody that feeling and carry it. What does empowerment look like? How does that feel? How can we hold that space? And I've been using the cars to help me, like my Dodge Ram Power Wagon 2500, you know, how that changes the space we take up in this post-colonial world we're living in. Here's another example where I was in collaboration with Fawn Douglas, and we, with this group, co-created this experience to be an empowering one, and this happened in Las Vegas, Nevada. There's Bosque in the back before her pink. She went too. She had to hang out with the girls, that's why. Full circle. Why? I think we've forgotten the importance of mothering, of nurturing, of caring for somebody else with your whole body, of feeding another human because you would give it food from your own mouth just to watch it grow. That kind of love. Because that's what our earth is seeing in us. We are her babies. We have lost our respect for our mother. We have lost that respect. And I feel like when we find it in ourselves, we will know what it means to respect that. When we find that loving, that nurturing, that connection inside of ourselves, we'll remember what that means. I drew this before I became a mom. And it's like, I bring it because I already knew. And I couldn't fully know, but I already knew what was important. How to hold ourselves. How aesthetic. How connection to mystery. How identifying the yum and following it. Identifying the yuck and making boundaries. Making that clear inside of you. Sniffing it out. And honoring it. And respecting it and listening for it. Stopping, closing your eyes, and asking for it to talk to you. It's there. Because this is what matters. I think colonial world has taught us that we're the center of everything. And we forget that we're a relationship. And that's actually the good stuff. That's actually the good stuff. Is that it is the appreciation of all those relationships around us that is worth it. And we're responsible for it. We're holding it up. And we're going to teach. We're going to teach. We're going to teach. We're going to serve. We're going to serve. We're going to serve. We don't need to take. We don't need to take. We can give. We can give. We can give. We have abundance to share. And it's beautiful. And you know what? It's even fun. And, you know, even if we're not actually physically raising another human being or in charge of another human being, that the piece on the left was actually made about myself. And that little being is me. And if I can identify those moments when I'm mean to myself, when I don't feed myself right, when I am abusing myself, that when I begin to change that relationship to myself, it inherently changes the way that I treat the world around me. And I'm going to listen better. You know, I'm going to make different decisions around how I live. Because we are part of all things. This is a piece I made called Strata. I didn't make it myself. I made it with my community and my crew. And they're 24, 25 foot tall figures that represent the underground, the layers of the earth, the human world, what we see as people, and then the sky. We are that. And we're responsible for it. Our consciousness is the creator of this world. And we are co-creating this. And this is gonna be beautiful if we remember to find what that beauty is all the time. Yeah, I'm only saying this because I'm always looking for myself. I'm always doing this work and trying to find it inside of me. When we look up to the stars and we realize our context, and it's guiding us, and that we are of the stars. It's also bigger than these little things that we get caught up in. It's so little and so big all at the same time, and it's beautiful, beautiful. See those swirls? They're going the same direction. See the stars? They're above it all. I want to show you something. Because everyone's saying, what is that? It's the environment. It is all things, right? I saw this the other day. And I hope there's no sound. That would be really funny if there was, but let's see if we can make it play. Oh yeah, it's playing. This is it. Wait for it. There's even a sun ray. Look at it spinning. That's it. That's what's happening in that room out there, you guys. That's it. Need I say more? No, because you're going to find it. You're going to see it. Because we're in community. And I look forward to the healthy community that we're all making collaboratively when we find the aesthetic parts of ourselves. The end. Hillary. So Hillary said I can take 2 questions. The boss over here says 2 questions. And I'll open statements, and I ask a statement is also awesome. Tony.
Rose, what a privilege to listen to you today. I just read an article in the New York Times where you talked a little bit about that context of your work in the greater world. I get to talk louder. And your work in the greater world. Like your work is in museums. It's, in parks. It's in big cities. You really have made us incredibly proud. Now that work is external to you now, and it exists in New York, and it exists in Crystal Bridges, and it exists, here in San Francisco. And you have a relationship with those things. And what amazed me about the article that I read in the New York Times was you talked a little bit about like a moment where somebody says, we, curators, collectors, we need a Rose Simpson. And could you talk a little bit about that experience and how you responded in that article a little bit more elaborately?
Thank you. That's a very good question. I don't know anything. I don't know anything. So, let me clarify. I actually don't know anything, and in that is because I am learning what that means, and I have to trust my service And I don't know what that really is, except that I listen and keep going. And when someone says, I need a rose, what I hear, I think, or I'm trying to hear, is that they're looking for whatever road I'm offering to themselves. And I don't know what that means. I don't know what that looks like. Because if somebody chooses to live with one of my pieces in their house, it's the Trojan horse of consciousness. But I don't know what that story or that poem that's going to tell them at 3 a.m. when they're walking to the bathroom at night is going to do. I have to trust the piece, and I have to listen. And sometimes I'm not happy with where they go. But if I preach to the choir, there would be no change. And my job right now is to protect me so I can keep going too, so I don't run myself dry. Because if I do that, I can't help. I'm learning that one. I know I'm not the only one. Because we have to keep our glass filled, or we can't help. But every time I think I know, I hit a wall. And so if something bugs me, I get to ask myself why and listen for the answer. And go into the mystery that there's there, right? Does that answer your question? Yeah, so I feel like the work has its own journey and it's making its own decisions, and I have to trust that they're doing the work that they need to do in the world, and that they will end up in the place that's right for them to end up to do the work that they came to do here. And get myself out of the way, because my brain is not always my friend. Yeah.
Thank you for your beautiful talk and your beautiful work and your gift to us. And I just wanted to hear a little more about how you, this is a more personal question, my personal question, not personal to you, which is that I would love to hear more about you doing your art for that little kid inside, and holding the space for that. And I don't really have a specific question. I'd love to hear you talk more about it.
My mom, when I was a little kid, I'd hear, "Rosie, where are my scissors?" And I always had them, And she used to build these cages around her art so I wouldn't touch it. Apparently, I used to get into everything, and I still do. So I love to make things, and I love, do you want to know what my dream is? Is to have a place where I can do clay, and then I can make jewelry, and then I can plant plants, and then I can go pull weeds, and then I can go work on cars. And there's something so satisfying to me to make and do and see the outcome of something and challenge myself and do something I never did before and watch it happen. And there's this deep satisfaction in accomplishing something I didn't think I could do. And that part of I guess I do raccoon into things, and that is the kid in me who loves to make. I'm love to mess with I'm always getting into something. And so I think that someone said once that our thumbs are God. And that, I sat with that for a long time, because I thought about creator and creation and making. And that when we make and we bring something into being, that it shows us a part of ourself that is empowered in a world that feels really disempowering. And that feeling is very satisfying to the lost little kid that I can turn back into play. And that is the why, the how, and the reason. Does that make sense? Maybe? If it does, it's okay too. Cool? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Rose. We have another amazing lecture following shortly. We're just going to do a quick AV check. I hope you'll hang out. I also, while we do our little AV changeover, I want to make a plug for those of you who are appreciators and lovers of classic cars. Next weekend in the Mission, the SF Lowrider Council has their big King of the Streets event. They're shutting down Mission Street, and they're going to have a huge celebration. So not related to us, but we want to plug that, and please go and see. It's going to be amazing. All right. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, everyone. And stay tuned for Melissa Cody shortly.